All right, what is going on, everyone? Today we are going to be talking about Credit Suisse and CDSs. So, yeah, a lot of big stuff happened the past couple weeks. We have SPV, SVB collapsing, and now we have the value of Credit Suisse pretty much going all the way down to zero, and a lot of action being taken in by the government. So, let's take a look at what's happening. So, overall, Credit Suisse is the largest investment bank in Switzerland, and giving a recap overall of what banks do and how they make money is basically customers make deposits, and banks will then lend out that money that customers have deposited to other customers, and they will charge interest rate. They will make interest rates. So people deposit money at a 1% interest rate, and the banks will lend them out at a 4 to 5% interest rate. So banks will officially make money on that spread, which is a very simple way to put it. And then we've been hearing a lot about credit default swaps lately in the news. So, what is a credit default swaps? Well, credit default swaps, aka CDSs, are basically just insurance. So, what happens again, which is the customer gives the bank money, banks lend that money out, and if no payments are made, then all that money is gone. So, let's tie this back into Credit Suisse. So, all loans are basically defaulting based on customers wanting to withdraw their money and investing into what U.S. Treasury yields, because U.S. Treasuries, they yield a lot more than putting them into whatever banks or mortgages, whatever investment that they made a couple of years ago. So what a CDS does is basically you pay some sort of a small premium, but that allows you, in the event of some type of collapse, for you to get, or instead of some type of collapse, is basically customers stop paying their mortgage payments or their interest rate payments, and this allows them to get back their initial principal. So let's compare the cost of CDSs. So if we take a look back at the banking sector in 0809, we saw that CDSs came to about $650,000 for a $10 million principal. And nowadays we are seeing, for Credit Suisse, if we tie that into Credit Suisse, we're seeing about a $1 million CDS cost to secure $10 million. So we're seeing quite a significant increase in cost. Also, taking into consideration that this is inflation adjusted, so that's another thing to look out for there. So today we have high inflation, and we have banks failing due to insolvency, such as the examples SVB that I presented yesterday. So banks lent out billions of dollars in the low interest rate environment back in 2021. What's the problem? Well, the problem now is that customers realize that given this high interest rate environment due to the Federal Reserve and basically monetary policy all over the world trying to tackle inflation as an issue, they're increasing interest rates. So now customers of the bank will realize this and see that they're just going to take money out of the bank. So this gives us two problems. Problem one, if we don't raise rates, we're going to end up with very high inflation because of all the money that has been printed. Problem two is, if we do raise rates, we do end up with a financial system problem. We end up with unemployment, we end up with asset deflation, we end up with bank insolvency. And it's pretty clear that the monetary policy going forward is that we are going to just bail whoever out we need to. The United States or whatever government entity has pretty much shown historically that we're just going to be bailing out whatever association is tied to some major issue just to avoid some sort of collapse. So we're going to be bailing out the banks, and we're going to see a lot of support with the larger banks such as JP Morgan or Citi, and we are going to see what protection of deposits of up to about $250,000. So we are going to see that type of protection associated with big banks. So why would anyone want to be banking with smaller banks? All right, so the Credit Suisse bailout is pretty much that the Swiss National Bank is forcing UBS, which formerly known as the Union Bank of Switzerland, to acquire Credit Suisse in exchange to provide the bank with $100 billion in liquidity. So the government is getting involved in this, and they're telling another financial institution to basically acquire and merge. So basically, this is an M&A of two banks. So this really shows the power of the government. This shows what the power of the government can do in terms of basically influencing these types of acquisitions and transactions. They can pretty much do as they please. It's pretty insane that the government has this type of power. And now that, if an event like this were to happen in the future, there's precedent that the Bank of Switzerland made UBS buy Credit Suisse. So maybe we assume that other financial institutions will make this type of decision going forward. So people who own stock in Credit Suisse are pretty much screwed. You see a massive crash with Credit Suisse stock. As you can see, this merger also can possibly lead to job cuts, because now that we have a combined entity of Credit Suisse and UBS, we have about over 100,000 employees. Finance industry as a whole is just not looking good, and it's gonna suck in the financial industry going forward for about a year or two going forward. So it's a lot going on. We've been hurt overall as an output of the quantitative easing policy that the Federal Reserve has set, which caused an increase in the supply of dollars and increase in inflation, which is causing the Federal Reserve to combat inflation through the increase of interest rates. And now we have banks and financial systems collapsing because of these interest rates. So it's a perfect storm. A lot going on. But anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on my video. If you guys disagree with me or agree with me, let me know. And additionally, I do provide, in these hard times, career services. So resumes, cover letters, mock interviews, a LinkedIn optimization, the whole 9 yards, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out the link in the description below. Talk to you later.